I have a fairly new install of Visual Studio 2017. Now, when I installed it, I couldn't install just the core part of Visual Studio. There's some other things I needed to add. I needed to be able to create something called a console application, and later I'm also going to create a Windows form application. And to do that, there's other pieces of Visual Studio that I needed to add. And also later on, I may want to create a database, so I needed to add that component too to my Visual Studio. So there were a lot of different pieces that I needed to add before I could get to the point that I could actually write some code. So after installing Visual Studio and all those other pieces, I'm ready to start off, and I'm going to create a new project. And to do that, I do File, New, Project, and I'm going to create, and I need to change this to C Sharp. I'm going to create a Visual C Sharp console application, and And with my settings, I'm going to create using the console application using the .NET framework. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to give this a different name. I'm going to call it First C Sharp App. Uh, okay, First C Sharp App. And I want to make sure I know where this is being saved at. Right now, the default location is Visual Studio Projects folder, and I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it in the default location because sometimes when you're first starting, you will save part of your project accidentally to some other location. Um, and then when you try to run it, it won't run because the pieces of your project are scattered all over somewhere. So I'm just going to leave it with the projects folder and make sure it saves there. Okay, I'm going to leave the solution name the same, and I'm ready to go. So I'm going to click OK, and it's going to take off and build a little bit of the code for me to start off with. And the first time I do this, um, it takes quite a while, but then it finally pops up. And what I'm ready to do is to add some coding. Now, we'll look at these different parts of the program, but this is just a way of adding a lot of code which is available to us by using the keyword using. We have access to a lot of the built-in code, so we don't have to write it. It's already been written for us. Then we've got a namespace, and this namespace has the name of our project, and inside of this namespace is something called a class, and this class is called program. And inside of this class called program is a main method, and these are just terms that we'll learn more as we go along. But to run a program, I need to start right here and see this. This is an opening curly brace. Maybe it's hard to see. Let me expand it a little bit. I don't need this, so I'll move this. Okay. So this opening curly brace, and I'm going to press the enter key, and there I've got my beginning and ending curly brace. This is where the program starts at. This is where it starts executing at. So that's where I'm going to start putting my code. So I'm going to start off with something simple. So I'm going to just say system dot period console, there it is, dot right, and I want to do right line. Put that in between parentheses and a semicolon at the end. And so far, everything looks okay. Um, and what this is saying is write this line of text to the console. Now, this system keyword, I really don't need to put that in there because I've already got a statement up here that says we're already using system. So I really don't even need to put in that system keyword. I could just say console.writeLine. But for educational sake, I'll go ahead and leave it in there. Now I'm going to put in double quotes. And there are two sets of double quotes here. And inside of this set of double quotes, I'm going to put in any text that I want. So I'm going to put in something like hello world just to try it out. And it's between the double quotes. And that's it. Make sure you've got a semicolon at the end of the line. And that should do it, but I'm going to run this, and I'm going to have a little bit of a problem here. Let me do debug, start debugging. And when I run this, it builds the project. So we've got the compiler chewing away on this code that we've written, and the first time you run it, it takes quite a while. And the console window pops up, and there it popped up, but now it's gone. Well, what we need to do is that we need to hold that console window there, and so there's a little trick that we use to hold that console window there. And I'm going to use the system keyword again, if it will let me. Okay, system dot console dot read line. I'm going to put parentheses on the end of that. And so what this is going to do is that it's going to open this console window. It's going to write this line, which is the characters between these double quotes, onto the console. And on this line, what it's going to do is pause and wait for you to press the enter key. So now let me run it again. Debug, start debugging, and let's see if it holds this time. Building the project, and the window comes up and it writes hello world onto the console window eventually, and now it just pauses. It doesn't disappear. The console window won't disappear on me, so I'm okay. So the computer did what we told it to do, which was run this namespace program called FirstApp, and inside of there's a class, and inside of the class there's something called a method called main, and we'll see what these other keywords are later. And inside of this main method, and you notice all these are delineated by a opening and closing curly brace. So inside of this main method, it says write this line hello world to the console window, and then pause and wait for the user, you who's running the program, to press the enter key, and that's it. So where'd it go? There it is. So the console window is up and it's waiting for me to press the enter key, so I'll press the enter key and the program finishes. That's it. That's a C# console application. So now that we've done that, make sure I know the name of this. This is FirstCS What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Windows. I'm using Windows for this, and so and I'm and in Windows, I think this is Windows 10. Um, I'm looking at the File Explorer, and under Documents, under Visual Studio 2017, there's a Projects folder, and that's the default location of where this project is at. So I'm going to drill down in here, and there it is. It's this first one, FirstCS App. Okay, so if I drill down in here more just to take a look around, I'm going to drill down in there, and you see I've got a folder with the .sln file. By the way, if I can't see this .sln, what I can do is I can go to View, and on here somewhere, here it is, File Name Extensions. I can check that, and it'll show these file name extensions, what comes after the dot. Okay, and after I drill down in there, I see there's a bunch more programs or files that have been created. So that's it. I'm going to back up to the first level. This one, I don't really need, I'm going to get rid of that. So I've got my program, and everything's in there. All the files and folders are in there. So what I want to do is I want to zip that. So I'm using Windows again, and I happen to have 7-zip installed, but what I'm going to use is Microsoft Windows compressed zipped folder. That's the one I want to select. So I'm going to click that, and it creates a .zip file for me. So in other words, this folder was compressed into one file, which is zipped or compressed. Now, you don't want to try to run this zip file or do anything else with it, because it won't run. It'll kick an error out. But it's good for uploading your program. So when you've completed your program, in this case a basic Hello World application, I can zip it up, and now I'm ready to find my assignment. So as always, I go to my modules, and say for example this is module 1. Maybe it's the getting started example. And on module 1, say I've completed whatever this assignment is, and then I'm going to click Submit Assignments. I'm going to choose a file, and I'm going to locate where that zip file is, which was in Projects, and here it is. Now I can rename this, and I probably should, and put my name on it. Put an underscore in between there. Okay. And this is the file that I want to upload. So I'm going to select that zip file, and there it's added it. Now in the comments there are some questions that I need to answer. I'm going to copy and paste those, and need to answer each one of those, whatever the answer is. Okay, and I'm ready to go. And the only thing I need, I've got my file chosen. If I wanted to, I could add another file at this point, but I'm all done. So I'm going to click Submit Assignments, and let's see if it will, and it shows me when I've turned this in and whether or not it's late. And now if I turned it in again, I would be resubmitting the assignment. So Everything is done. Um, Used Visual Studio 2017 to create a basic C# project, console application. Um, Used, in this case, I'm using Windows, so I used File Explorer to go find that folder, and I zipped the entire folder up, and that's what I uploaded to the assignment along with the comments, and that will do it.